Lost out to Alessandro Bellametti right at the end on the last lap. Michael Maschio was very happy to win. Federici said it's his first time in Brazil. He didn't like the track during qualifying. He was happy to see rain in the morning. Pushed hard to cast Mickey Maschio, but couldn't quite get him because Maschio was very fast. He said, when Pichon passed me, I saw new lines and used them, but it still wasn't enough. Josh Coppins hasn't ridden the bike for 2 weeks because he twisted his ankle in Kester, so he was a bit stiff on the bike. But he certainly made a good third place finish in the first moto. Who's it going to be second time out? Let's hope they all get through that first couple of turns safely. And it looks it might have been Pichon at the front. No, it was Josh Coppins who got through there at the front, and so far so good. Everybody in the, oh no, not quite. And one of the boys goes down, one of the Brazilian boys goes down, and Paul Cooper, an extravagant, really extravagant swap in mid-air there by the Motor X Husqvarna. He's in second place, he almost hole-shot it. And he's behind Michael Pichon, and once again Pichon retaliates after messing up the first race by charging to the front of the second. Pichon leads. Cooper's in third place. I think he may have been passed by Michael Maschio, the first race winner. No disgrace in that. Pit Byre as well downfield, and once again not too good a start, I don't think, for Frederick Bolle, nor for Marco Dorsch there, no, I don't think for Gordon Crockard. But Pichon, Maschio, Cooper, Coppins, Demaria, Dugmore are the first 6 in race 2. So I wonder how clear that head is after the beating it took in his crash. Pichon at the present leads. Another 21 8/10 of a lap to go. Mickey Maschio behind him. And once more kicking up the dust. After that bit of rain this morning, things have dried up a bit now. Terrific track here at Belo Horizonte. Michael Pichon, Michael Maschio, the two Michaels together at the front, both of them. Michael Maschio from the south of France, Michael Pichon living back in his homeland area near Le Mans. He was very much on home territory a couple of races ago at Brou. Look how deep some of these ruts have got since that bit of rain this morning. It really did sort of soften and deepen the trenches that the guys are riding through. As Pichon completes lap 1, Maschio second place, Cooper saying, oh, and Maschio's spun himself out. He's obviously been taking lessons from Pit Byre. Demaria gets through, Maschio remounts, so suddenly Maschio will be back to 5th place, just ahead of Coppins and Dugmore. So Mickey Maschio, a simple little spin out, takes the pressure off Pichon. Pichon is suddenly pressureless. He's at the front, he's racing in the lead, he's got no excuses. Gordon Crockard down in 11th place. Not a good start from the Cass Elf Honda rider. And here is that start. And we watch to see who reaches that. Almost Paul Cooper, who had his nose in front as they went into that first turn, but he just gets eased out right wide by Josh Coppins, and that makes the space inside for Pichon. And there is another look at that spin out of Michael Maschio's, and that's gifted Paul Cooper second place. So the SoCal Motor X Husqvarna of the British Championship leader is right there in second place in the 10th round of the World 250cc Motocross Championships. And this is him. Paul Cooper, lethally fit, lacking for some reason the sort of self-belief that his talent and fitness ought to produce. Rides the official factory Husqvarna. Has an extremely solid SAC rear monoshock spring on it. He likes his suspension set really brutally hard, so as it rides, it thumps its way through and across the bumps rather than actually soaks them up. So he's got to be fit and strong and powerful. He's got Demaria behind him. And Maschio, of course, recovering fast. So right at the moment, Cooper's right in the middle of the French Foreign Legion. Cooperman's best year, 1998, when he finished 10th in the 250cc World Championship on a Kawasaki, with help, of course, from the great Jan de Groot, who runs the Winfield Kawasaki squad that fields Maschio and Pit Byre. There is Maschio, full on in pursuit. Look at the contrast in styles. Maschio tending to just sit and soak everything up through his backside. Yves de Maria, all style and poise, tending to be stood up on the pegs along those rough straights. De Maria, of course, now something a veteran, finished 4th on Husqvarna in the 500cc World Championship last year. It's a long while since he won a 250cc Grand Prix. He was leading the 250cc World Championships racing for Chesterfield Yamaha when he crashed and broke his leg a few years back. And he came back from a broken leg prior to that. Oof, and there's Maschio waving one of those legs around in his usual ragged fashion. De Maria came back from breaking a leg in the Paris Supercross at the end of '92 to finish a good close second to Pedro Tractor in the 125cc Grand Prix in 1993, before startlingly moving to the 250 GPs and finishing 3rd on a Honda in 1994. And at that stage, it certainly looked like he had what it took to become world champion. And perhaps if it wasn't for injury, or perhaps a little to do also with attitude, somehow mentally, he's always appeared just a little bit suspect. Yves de Maria, the fly, working hard on that free time Yamaha. Free time Yamaha, incidentally, have got big plans for next year. They want to run 2 riders in the 125 and 250 and 500 classes. They've approached Andrea Bartolini, the reigning 500cc world champ. They've approached Pit Byra, and they've also offered $1 million to Sebastian Tortelli, who's presently, of course, a superstar of Honda America, the 1998 250 world champ. Pichon leads after 3 laps. Cooper 2nd, De Maria 3rd, Maschio 4th, Bolle through to 5th place, riding as well as ever past Josh Coppins on the 2nd Suzuki. Watching these two, De Maria and Maschio, we tended to forget that Paul Cooper's ahead of them. Now surely to goodness this will do something for the Englishman's the adopted Englishman's confidence. His team boss Trevor Avery works hard to make Cooper realise how good he is, as does his Stefan Noosa, his trainer, and Carl Paddy Prestwood, his long-serving former racing rival, actually, back in South Africa. They're both originally South Africans. Carl Prestwood a couple of years older than Cooper at 30. Also himself a lightning-fast former rider. All 4 of the guys in the picture together. This is a tight race. There's Pichon, there's Cooper, there's De Maria, there is Maschio. Cooper mixing it with the best in the world, which is what he should be realising he's capable of doing, I think, every weekend. He's only 28 years young. Won the 1992 British 125 Championship for Yamaha and the 1995 British Open Championship with Castrol Honda. Then had some successful years with Kawasaki before becoming for the first time in his career a full factory rider when he joined Husqvarna for last season. But injury and illness paid to him then. He says he had a tendency to overtrain. He's always had a tendency to, one of these guys who, if he's feeling tired, goes out and works even harder because he thinks he's not done enough. And he's now, under Stefan Noosa's wise advice, realised that he needs to rest now and then. So Paul Cooper, showing the benefits of that rest, he's in 2nd place right now, in a very strong 2nd place. And good Lord, we have another Pichon on the track at number 15. They must have, Josh Coppins must have given all his race shirts away to the Brazilian fans, because he's definitely riding with a Michael Pichon shirt on. So if you see 2 number 15s from our rear shots, be not unnerved. The one in 6th place is Josh Coppins. The one in the lead is the real Michael Pichon. And that's him. Pichon leads. Cooper is so close to him, riding majestically. He lives in oh, and look at that! Yves de Maria has catapulted himself clean off the track. Now, I thought the regulations said that he had to rejoin the track where he left it. He pulls off he doesn't do that. He comes straight back onto the track just behind Frédéric Bolle. Well, he's gifted Bolle a place, but I thought that he should have gone back, retraced his steps and rejoined where he left the track. Well, Yves hasn't bothered to do that. I don't know whether anyone will be bothered or aware of it. I thought there was a yellow flag then, but it's just some frantic Suzuki yellow, Brazilian yellow, waving on Michael Pichon. Paul Cooper lives in Husbands Bosworth in Leicester, a village in Leicestershire. nicknamed variously Coops, Cooperman. Look at this, watch Demaria. The bike, he loses the front end, it catapults him over the rut. Before he can do anything about it, he's disappeared through the tapes and behind the advertising hoarding for a few, well, for at least 30 or 40 metres, and then rejoins the track, having slipped a place behind Fred Bolle, the 1999 chap on the Palmer Honda, who's really putting on some sort of show. And look at this guy, talk about a show. Paul Cooper, British Championship leader, really putting it in with 15 minutes gone, half an hour plus 2 laps to go. Cooper on the charge. Maschio now in 3rd place. So Maschio looking strong for an overall victory here, which is what he threatened he would get. Remember, Pichon's out of the overall realistically. He was only 13th in the first leg. Cooper, of course, is not in a bad position for the overall because he finished 6th first time out. And he really is tackling Michael Pichon. He's right there, 0.86 of a second behind. We can see for ourselves, thank you very much. Bolle through to 4th. He is probably the danger man. Frederick Bolle just 3.5 seconds off the leader after a really dismal start. He fought his way through to 7th place at the end of the first lap. And amidst all this mayhem, Gordon Crockard's only advanced 1 place. He's made it through to 10th, just behind Claudio Federici and Colin Dugmore. So there's a terrific battle going on for 8th place. Dugmore, Federici and Gordon Crockard. So, of course, Crockard's people aren't going to be hanging back round there. Look at the airtime Cooper's getting. Well, like his namesake, Guy Cooper. They used to nickname him Airtime, the former 125cc wild jumping American champ by Guy Cooper. Paul Cooper obviously taking a leaf out of Airtime's book, and look at that, it's taken him right onto the back wheel of the Suzuki. Paul Cooper looking to take the lead here in Brazil. Go Coops, go! 15 seconds clear of 7th place man Pit Byra this battle. Oh, but Maschio was looking for a route up the inside there. Whatever Cooper does, he mustn't get overexcited attacking Pichon and leave the barn door open for Maschio. Wherever you look, there's Frenchmen all around him because Bolle's right there as well. Pichon's head will be feeling a bit sore anyway after that first race. He's not going to be absolutely 100% because that was a big get-off. Mind you, so was Fred Bolle's, but look at the indestructible Marseillaise. Oh, and he just about managed to cut inside Maschio. Here he comes now, down the hill, block passes Maschio ruthlessly and is through into 3rd place. What a tremendous ride. Frederick Bolle, having worked so hard in race 1, is back in the groove in race 2. He knows that he's knocked that championship advantage right back to 16 points now. 297 points for Pichon, 281 for Frederick Bolle. 230 for Byra, 205 for Coppins. And of course 150 for Paul Cooper, who's still there in 2nd place, but now I think we'll find that he's under attack rather than being the aggressor where Pichon's concerned. And watch this again. Maschio senses the front wheel, moves across to try and cut it out, hits bumps badly there and really gets a lot of air he didn't want under the back wheel. And of course you can't brake hard. And there's Bolle doing the same thing to Cooperman, only surprising him round the outside. So Cooper's pushed back to 3rd. Bolle is trailblazing. He's after Pichon. He wants that 20 points again. Well, I beg your pardon, again. He won twice in Kester to cut back Pichon's advantage. He only finished 5th first time out here in Brazil, but with Pichon languishing in 13th. And look at Cooper, he's not given up yet. He's back on the gas. I was going to say with Maschio that, of course, you can't apply the back brake when the back wheel is 3 feet in the air, so that was the problem for Mickey Maschio then. He hit a bump awkwardly, it threw the back end up. And look at this, that was a beautiful move. Bolle actually cut inside Cooper at the top of that short downhill and just grabbed the advantage into the right-hand rut at the bottom. So this breathtaking race, it's only been running 6 laps, but 6 extremely entertaining laps. And this is, look how much faster Bolle is going than Pichon. We're back with Mickey Maschio, but I think the action's happening at the front. I've got a feeling, I can see at the bottom of the hill there that Bolle is hunting down just in the corner. You can see Bolle's got through. Bolle's through. He leads. He pulled a similar manoeuvre on Michael Pichon, And suddenly the Palmo Honda rider is pulling back another 3 points, tightening the noose on Pichon, who's been discovering how hard life can be leading a world championship. As his predecessor as team leader at Suzuki has found, the 3 times runner-up in the World 250cc Championship, Marnik Pavots, the burly Belgian Neelyman, who led by 76 points at mid-season at 1996 and got hauled in by Stefan Everts. He said that once he got himself in a solid lead in the championship, he didn't know whether to go for wins or ride for points. And in the end, he fell between the 2 stools and messed up always round. Well, there's one thing about Frederick Bolle, you know that he's always going for race wins. That's what makes him an absolute hero to me. The only thing I hold against Fred is that he's happy with the 1 race format of next year, whereas that man, Michael Pichon, doesn't like it. And incidentally, Giuseppe Longo of the Action Group International, he thinks that it's only old granddads who don't like the idea of losing the traditional 2-motor format. Well, 18-year-old Grant Langston, currently leading the 125cc World Championship, says that one of the reasons he's clearing off to America next year is he doesn't want to race 1-motor Grand Prix. And there's Frederick Bolle pulling the turn inside Michael Pichon on the very bend that Pichon bailed hard in the first race. That's a good place to turn, to choose to pass him, because he's obviously not going to be very confident there. And Frederick Bolle has slipped off the Palmo Honda and slithered back to 4th place. So he has it all to do again. Bolle is behind Pichon, behind Demaria and behind Paul Cooper. And conditions absolutely treacherous here at Belo Horizonte. Well, we come all this way. They've had 3 months of scorching sun, and there's one man really in trouble, and that's Alessandro Nani. He's not going to be able to recover from that, slithering back down even in the grass. And that Yamaha is out of it. But look at the rain. What a horrendous changing conditions. Paul Cooper, Motorex Husqvarna, the 28-year-old UK domiciled South African, fighting to control the Husqvarna and stay ahead of the world champ. Frederick Bolle closing in once again after slipping back from the lead and just having a foot slipping off the footrest there. It really isn't very comfortable out there. Bolle 4th, 5th place Maschio, 6th place Josh Coppins. Gordon Crockard up to 7th, finally having made dramatic progress. Colin Dugmore crashed, trying to hold off Claudio Federici, collided with the Italian and went down. And Gordon Crockard then took advantage and actually passed Federici. And as the weather gets nastier, Gordon gets faster. The Croc Star, rock hard Crockard, they call him back home. Cooper 3rd, Bolle, look at that, still terrific on the tight lines, but is he getting the grip he needs as he splashes through that tight line? Palmo Honda shirt watching him anxiously from trackside there. Oh, and he may, oh, that was a bad time to go for a tear-off. Fred Bolle went for a tear-off there and just about lost control. He got into a nasty slapper with one hand on the bars, and I think he's in trouble. Those goggles have broken. That roll-on isn't working, and that's bad news for Bolle. Bolle's had to take off his goggles, and in these conditions, any of the roost from the riders in front is going to make it very difficult. If he's got to get past people, he's got to get past them quick. He's got to move in on them and make his move. It's no good hanging around in the rooster tail from the back wheel of the guy in front. That's going to kill his eyes. That number 15 you glimpsed, remember, was in fact Josh Coppins and not Michael Pichon. And Frederick Bolle suffering in the wet conditions. And I think this might be a replay of the wrong moment he chose to go for his goggles. Oh, it nearly threw him over the front. He couldn't get his hand back on the bars for a horrible second then. And once he did, he found that his goggles had gone anyway. Perhaps he snapped the roll off, just trying to snatch at them at that unfortunate moment. But whatever. Bolle is now challenging Cooper, but goggleless he's challenging Cooper. Maschio is being challenged by Coppins. And Crockard is challenging both of them. Cooper looking comfortable in the rain. Bolle squinting. The rain's backed off again. We've had a torrential downpour for 3 or 4 laps, and now it's having done the damage to the track and done the damage to Frederick Bolle's eye protection. It's gone away again. Crocstar pulling away from Federici. So he's solidifying 7th place, but of course will lose more points to Paul Cooper in that fight for 6th place in the championship. And there is Cooperman losing out to Fred Bolle. Bolle doing as I suspected he might, suddenly closing and surprising the Husqvarna rider because he needed to get through quickly. If you get that roost in your face without goggles, it's an unpleasant experience, potentially damaging to the eyes, which is the reason the riders didn't want to ride, of course, in those horrendous conditions at Fox Hill. Cooper, well, he's solidly in 4th place, and that's got a good result for Cooperman. 4th place will probably just about equal the best result that he's had so far this year. He had a 4th place in the European Grand Prix. So this will match, at the moment, will match his best result if he can stay 4th. Pichon, 15 laps complete. 2nd place, Yves de Maria. 11.5 seconds behind. Pichon's looking good for the win, feeling second-hand or not. Second-hand or not, and that's 7 seconds that Bolle's got to make up. And here he goes, hurls his goggles to his pit crew. I mean, you wouldn't want to lose an expensive pair of goggles out there in the slime, would you? So you obviously wait until you reach your pit crew and lob the goggles over there for safekeeping. Bolle still riding absolutely as hard as possible. He really is remarkably impressive, the world champion. Prone to making mistakes, but that's part of the fascination with him. And look at the wide line that Yves de Maria is taking there to find some dry land. The Fly, of course, in contention for the overall Grand Prix win with Mickey Maschio at the moment. He's lying 2nd. He finished 4th in the first race. At the moment, Maschio, first race winner, is the man who could well take the overall verdict. 5-1 will beat 4-2. Yves de Maria, free-time Yamaha. Another man from Marseille. It's funny how none of the guys from Marseille get on with one another. Like he and Bolle have always, well, not spoken particularly, shall we say. Incidentally, none of these guys, although they don't know it yet, there's only Fred Bolle, as the sun rather ironically comes out, there's only Frederic Bolle of this lot going to be in the French Motocross des Nations squad. Poor Michael Pichon doesn't know yet that he's out of the Motocross des Nations squad because Sébastien Tortelli and David Villemang, the 2 guys who are resident and racing in America, are the guys who are going to be racing the 250s alongside Frederic Bolle on a 125. And there's a problem for Pit Byra. Pit Byra's bike seems it's stopped. The Winfield Kawasaki has stopped. Byra throws it down in disgust and then suddenly finds that it's so slippery he can't keep his feet. And he takes off downhill. Oh, what an undignified ending for Pit Byra. The German can't believe his luck. He's having an awful season, isn't he? So Pit Byra goes out. The Winfield Kawasaki stops on him once again. And really terrible look for the pit bull. Oh, and down goes de Maria. De Maria momentarily has his concentration derailed there by, I think it was Serge Guidetti he was coming up to lap. He slides off. Now that's given Bolle a ray of hope for grabbing 2nd place. Oh, and Yves all over the place. There's Bolle, number 1. Yves checking to see he's still got a gearbox down there. Stamps his foot on the gear pedal, rolls on his goggles, takes a quick glance over his left shoulder, and yes, sir, that is the reigning world champion you've got for company. But no, sir, he hasn't got any goggles. So if you just keep roosting him, you might get rid of him. Bolle is surprisingly going for an even wider line than de Maria. Oh, de Maria sideways on him, both wheels sliding until he hit the berm, which halted his line and put him back on course. So although they're 10 seconds behind the leader, the battle is on for 2nd place. Or is it? De Maria's pulling away already. De Maria's remarkable at regrouping after having a fall. So de Maria is suddenly a man who was twice 8th in the 125 GPs, twice, fourth in the 125 GPs, second in the 125 GPs before moving to 250s. And working with Jackie Vimong, remember, throughout that 250cc Grand Prix season in 1994. One of the reasons he produced such spectacular results, working with the Frenchman who was himself a world champion back in '86. He lives 100 kilometres north of Marseille with his girlfriend Christine and their lovely little kid. And in 1995, of course, led the World Championships until he broke his leg, riding for Chesterfield Yamaha. Paul Cooper, we just glimpsed, number 18, he is in 4th place. These are the guys fighting for, well, I was going to say fighting for 2nd and 3rd place, but in fact, Cooperman is pretty close still to Fred Bolley. That's a back marker between them, but Cooper still riding hard. There's Demaria 2nd, there's Bolley 3rd, and just behind him, Paul Cooper in 4th. So Cooper has maintained the pace, maintained a blistering pace. Incidentally, an even faster lap in the early stages of this race. The fastest lap went to Fred Bolley, 2 minutes 1.3, 6 seconds slower than that which he set on a very dry track yesterday, but still impressive. And Crochard has pushed through. Michael Maschio has fallen. Michael Maschio has fallen, he's lost his chance of the overall, he's slipped back behind Gordon Crochard and Josh Coppins as Michael Pichon almost falls in the last turn, looking absolutely exhausted. The man from Le Mans comes round to the finish line and it's all turned upside down. Pichon wins, a relieved man. Yves Demaria holds 2nd place and therefore wins his first overall 250cc Grand Prix and free time's first 250 Grand Prix victory of the season, or in fact for free time at all. Demaria finishes 2nd and has won the Grand Prix. He probably doesn't realise it yet, but with a 2-4 score, Demaria is the overall winner of this Grand Prix, ahead of Michael Maschio in 2nd place. Amazing. What a splendid, confused ending. Demaria will be overall winner with 30 points. Maschio 2nd, 29. Bolley 3rd, 26. This is Fred Bolley.
Yeah, well, it's a good result. I get some points, but I'm not satisfied today. I think I should win the Boss Moto. That's why I'm not satisfied. And yeah, first moto I crashed on the start. I crashed at the start and after I catch up, but you know, it was difficult to pass. And second, I was so fast and the rain is coming, I crashed one time in the middle of race. After that, my roll-off goggle was broken and I should ride without goggles. So after that, it was really, really difficult, believe me. I stayed back to Demaria, but I was fastest, but what can I do without goggles? So just I'm satisfied to stay on the podium, but all right, it's okay.
Well, it is okay, Frederick, but I know what you mean, because that has opened up the gap at the top to 21 points. Notice that race only run 21 laps, not 22. Conditions getting rather nasty in the middle. And look at that, 4th and 5th for those boys, Cooper and Crochard. What a wonderful performance by them. And the last point, incidentally, went to the very brave Colin Dugmore after a big get-off when he clashed with Claudio Federici, battling for 8th place. The sun comes out. Michael Pichon has 317 points. Frederick Bolley, 296. Pit Byron on 230 is now only 15 points ahead of Josh Coppins, so things getting interesting. Demaria there confirming that he has won the overall. I bet he's surprised at that. And look at that, Paul Cooper ties with Michael Pichon for 6th place overall. A really fine performance from him. Gordon Crochard ties with Danny Tabers and the Millennium KTM on 13 points. And that means that Paul Cooper on 163 is now 5 points ahead of Gordon Crochard, 6th and 7th in the World Championship. They've got their World Championship and British Championship to sort out by the end of the year. Well, it will happen, and it'll happen here on Eurosport live in a fortnight's time, don't forget, with the next round. Can Frederick Bolley once more claw back Michael Pichon's advantage, which is now on 21 points? It's 3 points less than it was at the beginning of the day. Pit Byra's there in 3rd place, 4th Coppins, 5th Federici getting stronger, 6th Cooper, 7th Crochard, Demaria improving to 149, Michael Maschio to 119, and Danny Tabers rounding out the top 10 after 2 consistent rides. But Yves Demaria, the fly, he is the winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix. I'm Jack